वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jagannath Baladev Jaya Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Gaur Premanande Hari Bol Hare Krishna. We welcome all devotees for this auspicious Sunday feast program, and I hope everyone is awake now. No, I did it because I personally am very sleepy all the time. So today we are going to continue our discussion from last time that we were doing on the characteristics, the personality, the pastimes of Ambarish Maharaj. But before we begin our discussion today, it's extremely embarrassing always to sit on the Vyasasan, definitely, because I will never feel qualified to ever be here, but I try and do this for my own purification with all of your blessings, and I'm only simply trying to repeat everything that I've heard. I am not a scripturally well-versed person or anything of that sort, but I am trying my best to share what I have heard as a service, and I seek all of your blessings and also forgiveness, so that we can enliven and enlighten each other with some Krishna Katha, with some philosophy that will purify our hearts. So before we begin, we will speak the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manoabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So we'll start our discussion from Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 and verse number 21 onwards, and then we'll try to see how it connects with the theme of our discussion today. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 is entitled Karma Yoga, and it's a discussion between Lord Krishna and Arjun, and it's a very interesting conversation in the beginning because there's a lot of context about the war, what is going to happen, and Arjuna's hesitation to fight. So last time we discussed the pastimes of Maharaj Ambrish, we were discussing from a verse from the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the contents of the Gita summarized. And in that, Lord Krishna is giving some idea about how Arjun can engage himself in this act of war, a little bit of karma yoga, a little bit of jnana yoga, right? A little bit of bhakti. And Arjun becomes completely confused by Lord Krishna's instructions by the end of second chapter. I personally was confused when I was reading. What does Lord really want to tell? Which one should you do? And then the third chapter begins. And the third chapter begins, Lord Krishna, Arjun is just telling, my dear Lord, I am completely bewildered by your unequivocal instructions. You have given me, you can do this, do this, do this. What should I really do? Should I give up the results of my activities? Should I go to the forest? And if you think that giving up the results of activities is something that you should do, why do you really want me to fight? Because fighting is violence, So why do you really want me to do that? That's when Lord Krishna starts explaining the process of karma yoga, which means how do you really engage in this world? Because Arjun really wants to run away. He doesn't really want to fight. How do we be engaged in this world? So the verse that we are reading today, the context is that Lord Krishna is describing how we can be engaged in this world and why we should remain engaged in this world and not run away from our prescribed duties. So we can recite this. You can repeat after me. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tad evetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. Can do devotees want to recite? Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattadevetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattadevetaro janah सयत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तद् अनुवर्तते यद् यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठस् तत्तदेवेतरो जनः सयत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तद् अनुवर्तते. Whatever action a man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Um, Rishi, do you want to read the purport? Probably you might want to scroll the purport on the display. Okay. Thank you, Rishi. Okay, I'm going to take a minute to call for some reflections on the purport that we just read. Boy, I love putting people on the spot. Okay, Mataji, yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. One more reflection. Practice before you preach. Krishna, I feel like I should not be here right now. I am trying to practice as I share, though. So, yes, the idea is that whatever actions a great personality does, performs, common people tend to follow that, right? And there is always a class in the society. How much ever we educate and teach people, there will be people who will need leaders, and people always need leaders. So one such leader was, oh yeah, Amrish Maharaj. Amrish Maharaj. So the reason is we are trying to reconnect to what we discussed last time about Amrish Maharaj. Last time we discussed about 6 qualities or characteristics or the character of Amrish Maharaj. Okay, I will, you all can be mad at me because I have the sheet of paper in front of me, so I can ask. Does anybody remember? Humility. Wow. Okay. Yes. One of the characters of Ambarish Maharaj was humility. What else do devotees remember about Ambarish Maharaj? Austerity. Yes. He did perform the vow of Ekadashi, and then at the end he was doing Nirjal fast. So yes. But that's one of the things. Yes. What else? What else do devotees recollect? Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, that's the background. Somebody said protection. Yeah, what exactly about protection? Oh yes, yes. He had the ultimate weapon. Lord Vishnu had given him uh, the Sudarshan to protect him. What else? He was surrendered to Krishna. Yes, yes, yes. Attachment to Lord Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Why anxiety? Oh, that was Durvasa. Okay, Rampriya Prabhu, you were saying. He was fearless. You know how he was fearless? He was surrendered, yes. And the example is, we'll get into it. We'll get into the past tense. Actually, the fearlessness aspect we might get into next time. Okay, so he had a divine vision. He had a spiritual vision of gratitude, respect, and service to others. He had attachment to Lord Krishna. He had humility. He was victorious. He was the emperor of the entire planet. So he had a Vijay. But with Vijay, he also had a Vinay, means humility. And leadership, right? And what was his mood? As His Grace Ram Vijay Prabhu always shares the statement of his Guru Maharaj, always share your good fortune with others, right? Because his Guru Maharaj always said that to him, and he shares that with us. So that's a sign of great leadership. They want to make everyone fortunate, not just myself. I don't want to keep it with me. And protection. He was protected by this Lord because he was so surrendered. Lord Krishna is like, I'll keep this with you. And despite all the success, fame, everything that he had, he was detached. As Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukdev Goswami about, Shukdev Goswami describes just in one line about, Ambarish Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj gets excited. He wants to know more. Please, he is very well known, as one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. Please tell me more about him. And the first line is, he says, one of the first lines he says that despite having everything, he treated the entire universe, the wealth, everything in it, just like dirt. Just, how many of us can treat or think of our cars like our dust? How about our homes? How about our phones? Shoes? I don't know. Everything that we possess, that we are attached to, it holds some value. But he was so detached, it didn't really matter to him. So that is why, we are trying to understand from the character and the pastimes of Ambarish Maharaj what we can learn from him, how we can imbibe things. So as we hear from this really great pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam, we should do the following things. Actually, I made a mistake in my notes, but I recollect. We should do 4 things. Okay? What is the first thing we do? Please don't say Mahaprasade Govinde. Shravanam, right? And what is the mood that we should have for Shravanam? Attentively, yes. What else? Always from the bona fide sources. Wow. What else? Humble. Oh, wow. Humility. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. All right. What else? Being grateful. Wow. Nice. Submissively. Wonderful. Wonderful. The point that I am trying to zone into is what Mahabhava Prabhu mentioned. Attention. Right? His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, whatever catches our attention, catches us. So, as we are hearing, everybody here is attentive, but Shravanam, what should be our attitude? With rapt attention, like a razor sharp, You know, uh, actually, I was sharing this with you guys, right? What's the average attention span of human beings today? 8 seconds. Yeah, you were close. Yours is 12? It was 12. No, sorry. Yeah, yes. Wow, I need to update my knowledge now. So we are down to 6 seconds. You know, it's compared to be equivalent to that of a goldfish. You know, that's we have that less attention span. It's just the lives we live. We are just so busy. We have so many things to think about. We are multitasking all the time. So whatever, wherever we put our attention to, that becomes our consciousness. You know, uh, how many of us do or in the past have paid really great attention to a good movie, right? You shall not. Okay. I'm just trying to remember some other dialogue from some movie. Sorry? Oh my God. कितने आते थे? Right? The thing is, like, I don't really know what generation I am from. I've kind of lost touch with it. So I don't really know which movie to quote. Right? So whatever we pay attention to, that stays in our conscious, that becomes an impression, that becomes our memory, right? So we should be doing Shravanam with full attention, with full focus. At least we should try, right? After Shravanam, what should we be doing? Yes, that's right. But right now, that's not where I want to go. The next thing that we should be doing is Mananam. Means reflection, contemplation, pondering. What did I hear? What did Mataji say? What did Prabhuji said today, right? The example is given of a cow, Does anybody know what a cow does? Right. It keeps chewing. It has this secondary bag. I don't know what. Does anybody know what it is called? What is it called? Ruminants. Yes. Rumination is the exact thing. They and then start chewing again. Right. So we have to be like a cow, but not in our movements, but in terms of processing what we just consumed. We have to think about it. Okay, what is step number 3 then? It's called Nidhi Dhyasanam. Nidhi Dhyasanam means trying to implement what we just heard. Okay? Because, and this is literally the line of Gaur Gopal Prabhu, he was sharing this. Cosmetics and knowledge, they both work only when applied. Okay? So, we come to the temple, we hear everything, and when we just walk back out the same way, well, maybe we did not do something right. The purpose of going to temple is not to just get a good feeling, is not to feel peaceful, not to feel that I am doing something nice, but to actually experience a transformation. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would always share that whenever we as devotees are going on a yatra, right, the attitude is not, we are not going for a sightseeing. We are not going there for having fun, to eat nice prasad, to see different places, right? Who in this room likes to see and visit different places? Okay. All right. Prabhuji? No, I'll just. So, the idea is that why do we go to these holy places? To experience some sort of transformation in our consciousness. When we visit a temple, why do we visit the temple? Every Sunday morning, oh God, I have to go to the temple again. 11:30 in the morning on a Sunday? That's offensive. It's offensive to Sunday, that's offensive to 11:30 a.m., that's offensive to the morning. Huh? Why? Oh, plus lose. So we are shelter seekers. What we don't realize is that we are constantly looking for shelter, right? But our mind just will go in the place there where it feels that, that this is where I'm getting the most joy. But the mind always keeps jumping like a monkey. The best shelter is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees, the service of His devotees. So we have to do Nidhi Dhyasanam, try to practice the principles, right? We come to experience a transformation. And the fourth thing is Vandanam. We want to do Shravanam, right? Then we want to do Mananam, but we want to implement it. But how do we put it into practice? By praying, by coming in front of the deities, by being with the association of devotees, and making a humble, genuine appeal that, my dear Lord, I've heard all this, everything. In Marathi they say, kalat ahe pan valat nahi, right? I understand, but I cannot really practice this. So we have to, what's the step one for practicing it? We have to pray with all humility, with all genuine, humble feelings. So with that, what are the four things? Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhi Dhyasanam, and Vandanam. Yeah, if you ask me after the class, I will have forgotten. So that's why I'll carry the sheet with me. Okay? So with that in our minds, we'll get into the second part of understanding Maharaj Ambarish's culture. Okay? We heard about Maharaj Ambarish's character, about how he was humble and all these great qualities. So Maharaj Ambarish had fasted for an entire year, right? Did the Ekadashi, not the entire year, did the Ekadashi Vrata for the entire year. And as he was about to complete his vow, he went to Vrindavan, right? Madhuvan. By the bank of Yamuna river, he had sit to decide to break his fast with his wife. What did he do? The first thing he did is that he made exquisite offerings to the Supreme Lord, Krishna. He made flower garlands for them. He offered that to the deities. He gave the deities exquisite clothes and offered them. He made, he gave the finest jewelry, the jewels. He offered incredible food items. And he fed all the Brahmanas there, right? So the first step of, understanding what Maharaj Ambarish's culture is the culture of worship of God, right? Worship of Krishna. Because in today's age, we go to God, and what's the general idea? Sukh mite nahi, what is that common thing? Dukh mite tanka sukh ghar aave, jai jagadish hare, right? That we go to God to ask, putram dehi, dhanam dehi, janam dehi, iPhone dehi, admission dehi, green card dehi. Right? One time, a poor man, he asked God, he went to God and he was praying, my dear Lord, please, I was praying to God, and God appeared in front of him. Okay, I am busy. I have another appointment at 11:15. Tell me, you got one wish, you have one wish. What do you want? So this man says that I am poor, I have no home, right? My mother is blind, right? I have no child, I have no car. I want all these things. How should I ask? So then he says, okay, my dear Lord, please bless that my blind mother can see my wife holding my child, sitting in my Bentley car, parked outside our Beverly Hills home. So the God said, you must be a Gujarati. No offense to Gujaratis here. I myself am a Gujarati, so I took the liberty. Why do we approach God? Why should we approach God? Why should we worship Him? Why should we worship Him? Any takes? Why should we worship God? Nice. Gratitude. Offering gratitude. Wow, that's such a wonderful point. What else? Service. Why should we serve God? Boom. Haribo. Bhakti Shastri. Right. It is our constitutional position. When I always share this with, I like to share this example because say when we live far away from here and we always go to devotees' homes and we live there. And one fine day, like as you walk into the room and you see that everything is empty, you just start using everything for yourself? One would be a very shameless guest actually if we would one would do that, right? But you realize that I walked in here, everything around here is perfect. I did not set it up. So just because that I cannot see who is there, does it mean that I can use everything for myself? This sofa is mine. How about I take this TV? Actually, I wanted a TV, and this dining table is really good. I'll take this with me too. I always wanted a non-stick tawa. I don't have one at home. Let me take it all with me. Well, everything that there is, it is already there. The nature is so perfect and we are simply using it. Who gave us the right? So the act of worshipping, as Prabhu mentioned, is an act of gratitude, is an act of service back. Prabhu also mentioned it to serve is our constitutional nature. So that is why our worship is not meant to take, it is meant to give. It's meant to give back, right? It's meant to serve and it's meant to please, not our senses, but Krishna's senses, God's senses. So that is why the number one thing is the culture of worship to God. The second thing about about Ambarish Maharaj is that he had the ability to perceive Krishna everywhere, at all times, under all circumstances. Actually, it is the characteristics of, there are three types as we progress in our devotional service, right? There is Kanishta Adhikari, there is Madhyam Adhikari, there is Uttam Adhikari. And this is a characteristic exhibited by this personality, that he had the ability to perceive Krishna's presence everywhere. Okay, I'm going to ask a question. It's loaded, but I ask it for myself because as I sit, I try to keep a mirror in front of me before I can see everybody. As soon as we open that door and put one foot outside, how many of us think of Shri Shri Radha Kunj Bihari Ji? How about at the second step? Right? Our experience, our sensing of Krishna's presence is right when we are in front of the deities. Shri Rupa Goswami in the Updeshamrita says that, what is a Kanishta Adhikari? You will see Krishna only in temple. That's it. You put them somewhere else, oh no, this is too much. Bahut jyada ho gaya. This is too much Krishna. I don't want so much Krishna. Give it, like, sometimes we want to use God as pickle. Just a little bit. Adds flavor in life. So the idea is that Ambarish Maharaj could perceive Krishna's presence everywhere. Why should we perceive Krishna's presence everywhere? Is it not enough to just come to the temple, maybe offer something, do some service, and you go back home, have some fun? Like, sorry? It helps you have peace, yes, okay. What else? What else? Yes. Your submissiveness? Nice. Submissiveness. Yes, Prabhu. Krishna is everywhere. Where are you going to hide? Interesting, right? All these answers are correct. Okay. And what I'm thinking about is, you know, we have learned everything. We want to practice all these, and these instructions, some of these that come from the Bhagavad Gita. How easy is it to give up the fruits of your actions, your entire labor? Anybody here doesn't want a bonus, a promotion, a nice house, a good university? These instructions are super challenging to follow, right? How will we practice them if we are not conscious of Krishna and His presence, right? Our character is what we do when we are alone, right? Like it is said that an average person lies about 1452 times a year. I felt this was less for me. No, we try to follow all the principles. So we have to try and understand that the reason that we are sometimes unable to practice the principles that are given in the Shastra is because we go back home and I think we draw a curtain. Put them to rest. Don't let them be awake for a long time, you know. So, you know, lie reminds me that one time a person created a lie detecting robot. God, I don't know if it will be awesome or awful. Okay. So what does this robot do? If you lie in front of it, it smacks you on the head. It's very violent. Okay. So this person brings it home, and his kid, his boy, he goes out, hangs out with his friends, and he doesn't come home until like next morning. And so his dad is mad at him. And so he asks him, "Where were you last night?" "Papa, we were up together, working on this project. We have so many assignments. I've been studying so sincerely." So he brings the robot from the room in front of him. "Speak that again." "Papa, we were up all night studying." Tak! So he's like, "You are such a liar. Shame on you. When I was your age, I would never lie to my father." The robot turns around. Tak! So the wife hears the commotion from the other room. She comes in this room and she was hearing all the while. "See, in your association, he has gone bad. When I was young, I was never like both of you." The robot turns around. Right? We find these opportune moments and we feel that we will not be caught. We will not be caught. I will just do this. Who's seeing it? Right? So we have to understand that the highest stage is to reach where understanding that Krishna is everywhere. How many chadars will I pull on myself? Krishna can see in that chadar, in complete darkness also. Right? So that is the quality of Ambarish Maharaj. The ability to perceive Krishna's presence everywhere, in all circumstances. The third characteristic of Ambarish Maharaj is the practice of giving charity. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto 4th chapter verses 33 to 35 is where the description is given when Ambarish Maharaj. How many of us have done Nirjala Ekadashi? Okay, right. Interestingly, the act of when you take certain vows, spiritual vows, charity is also an essential component of spiritual vows. Ambarish Maharaj gave 600 million beautiful, well-dressed cows, who had milk bags filled. Their horns were plated with gold. and their hoofs were plated with silver. He gave that in charity to Brahmanas to just take it. He fed all the Brahmanas to their fullest extent. Imagine when you are fasting, how easy is it to do something for others when you yourself are in a difficult circumstance? It's challenging, right? It takes a certain purity of heart to extend ourselves for others when we ourselves are being austere, are doing difficult things, have challenges in our life. But his principle of compassion is allowing him to practice charity, right? And okay, I think one Guju man decreased from the room, which is fine. Here is one joke about charity. Okay, we always want to keep things to ourselves. Sometimes what we give in charity is used car, used clothes, the pants that have the non-stick layer gone off, or worn out things, right? We always want to keep it back with ourselves. And whatever opportunity that we have, we want to gain things, but to give, right? One time, a Guju man's grandfather passed away. Okay? If you are a Gujarati and you are mad at me, you can beat me later. His grandfather passed away, so he had to submit to the newspaper an obituary. So he went to the publisher and he said, I want to, give a message. My grandfather passed away. So he said, how much does it cost? So that person said, it is $10 a word. So he said, is it $10 a word? So he said, okay, just published, Dada died. So the publisher is like, man, you actually at least need to put 5 words. Is it 5 words? Okay, say, Dada died, wheelchair for sale. Yeah, nasty. Okay, it's not a real example, so please don't use it on others. The idea is that we hate to give, but we love to take, right? But the principle, the act of charity is to understand that nothing really is ours. We have to give it back, right? And compassion, to give to others whatever we have, to try and share. So in giving, we receive. So now Ambarish Maharaj has done all that. He has given charity, and now he is ready to break his fast along with his wife. And now he sits on a asana. And who arrives at the scene? Durvasa Muni. Durvasa. You know what is the meaning of the word Durvasa? No, please. Yes. That's actually. So actually, that's what Durvasa Muni. He doesn't have clothes on. He's a very strong ascetic sadhu who is not at all engrossed in his body. Yeah, actually, one should say Nirvas, because not wearing any clothes. But Durvas means bad clothes. So it's a very subtle, indirect way to say that this person would, yes, he has no interest in anything of this world at all. And this personality is known to be angry, to get angry at very little things. So imagine you have had a very long fast and you have a very difficult personality to deal with, and they appear right there just as you are about to break your fast. How many of us have done Nirjala Ekadashis? Nice. Is it fun in the morning? How does the shower feel? I wish I could become a Chatak Pakshi. Right? The Achman feels like nectar. Now he has sat there and Durvas Muni appears at right where he is about to break his fast. And now he has to get up. He gets up from his mat and he goes and greets Durvasa Muni. How can I serve you? And Durvas Muni said, he actually greets him, welcomes him, and makes him, feel welcomed. Sometimes when you are, as you have been hungry throughout the day and you are really starving and you get an important phone call from your boss. Frustrating, right? So now imagine Durvas Muni has come, he wants to break his fast. Yet, despite that inconvenience, he gives the greatest hospitality to Durvas Muni. And Durvas Muni then says, I actually have to perform my afternoon rituals and I have to go bathe in the river, but I will be back. So this is the fourth aspect of Ambarish Maharaj's culture, which is sensitive hospitality to a tithi, guest. Last time we discussed a verse from Taittiriya Upanishad, right? Matra devo bhavah, pitra devo bhavah, acharya devo bhavah, atithi devo bhavah. So it is said that when a guest appears at your doorstep unannounced, one should welcome them and the bare basic minimum, offer them food. If you don't have food at house, offer them water. I don't know which home will not have water, but if you don't have water, you offer them a place to sit. Give them a straw mat to sit on. If you don't even have that, you offer them sweet words of welcome. Ambarish Maharaj gave all that. What was it? What? Oh, if you are mute, oh my God. So offer them all the welcome that you can. Actually, to the words, you are supposed to, even to the sweet words, the details is, you should have, I'll share a verse, you should have welcoming glances. Not like, Aiye Prabhuji, aiye. Right? So this is the verse. Chakshur dadyad manah dadyat vacham dadyad susun ritam anuvrajed upasit saha yagyah pancha dakshina. To even receive a guest is an act of yagya. Chakshur dadyat. You offer, give pleasing, welcoming glances. Manah dadyad. Be a well-wisher. Actually, you have to feel it in your heart. Be a well-wisher from the mind. Vacham dadyat susun ritam. Sweet, welcoming words. Upasitcha. Sit with them. Spend some time with them. Talk to them. And upavrajit. When they are leaving, bye. Go some distance with them. Okay? Now, these are very ideal instructions from a different age. Please honor it based on the time, place and circumstances. So, that's the idea, that guest who comes to our home offers an opportunity, or a guest represents the opportunity or opportunity to serve. So we learn that from there, right? What to speak of guests coming at our home, everybody visiting the temple right now. Actually, my Guru Maharaj had given this instruction when we were there. And he would say, everybody who visits the temple is a guest of their lordships. And we have to treat and serve them with utmost love, care and devotion. Okay. Even when guests come home, it is so easy to be, nice in front of the guests. Arey, Prabhuji, ek chapati aur. Prabhuji, some water. Your bed, like their bed will be, set in the best way. We clean the house. right? Why don't we treat each other like that? So that's something to be learned. The understanding is that if we are supposed to treat an uninvited person who comes to our door that way, what to speak of the person that lives with us, you know? So, but the tendency of the mind is, if you know somebody, we take them for granted, right? So he did that. He took care of his guests like that. Now Durvas Muni has gone. Ambarish Maharaj is, as Mataji mentioned, Ambarish Maharaj has to complete his vow. You know, we say we have to break our fast. The language, English language is very tricky, right? Where we don't, in Sanskrit or in traditional language, we don't break our vow. Our vrata, we don't break the vrata, we complete the vrata. That's why we have Parana time, that we complete our vrata. Ambarish Maharaj is now getting anxious. He has to complete his vrata. But his guest hasn't had any food. How can he break the fast? So what does Ambarish Maharaj do? He consults with the Brahmanas that are present there. And he takes advice from them. And what is the advice? The advice is, Aposhnati tan naivashitam naiva nashitam. Naivashitam naiva nashitam. Which means that when you are fasting and if you take water, you have broken your fast. It is as good as you have had grains and you have not had grains. And Durvas Muni, in that difficult circumstance, Ambarish Maharaj, in that, in that situation, he decides to break his fast with water. As Durvas Muni returns, guess what happened? Durvas Muni, when he meets Ambarish Maharaj, when he comes back, by his mystic power, he understands that this person has broken his fast. Durvas Muni is so interesting. I heard one pastime about Durvas Muni. I had never heard that before. So, Durvas Muni, one time, as he was doing his austerities, he was going to different places. So, he was near Vrindavan. And he was meditating near, near the forest of Vrindavan. And Lord Krishna, along with his cowherd friends, was playing around that area. So as they were playing, Durvas Muni was wrapped in meditation. So Durvas Muni, so these, our Lord Krishna is very mischievous. So they decide to have some fun with Durvas Muni. So they try to wake him up. Durvas Muni is completely absorbed in his meditation. So Lord Krishna then decides to climb into his lap. He climbs into his lap, tries to wake him up. He doesn't wake up. He pulls his beard. He starts to pull his beard. I was like, wow, this is asli khatro ke khiladi. Right? And Durvas Muni, as he opens his eyes, he sees this sweet baby Krishna in his lap. And as Lord Krishna is trying to wake him up, he is calling him, Baba, Baba, wake up, Baba. And as he says Baba, Lord Krishna's mouth opens. And Durvas Muni sees himself entering him in his mouth. He enters Lord Krishna's mouth, and as soon as he enters Lord Krishna's mouth, he sees the vast entire universes. Within the universes, there is creation and destruction happening. And millions and millions and millions of ages pass. And he experiences that. And he comes out of his mouth, and he is stunned completely. And he looks back at this baby. Baba, Baba, Baba. And Durvas Muni, this yogi, he was so in awe and reverence. But in that great pleasure of memory of that specific, incidents that happened with him, he departs from there. That's very same Durvas Muni actually also cursed Lord Krishna in a different pastime. Because he gets angry at him, but we'll not get into that. But That's that same Durvas Muni who gets to know that Ambarish Maharaj has broken his fast. He decides to curse Ambarish Maharaj. What to speak of cursing? You know what does Durvas Muni say to Ambarish Maharaj? You are not a devotee. तुम तिलक लगाता है, तुम नाटक करता है. You are a fake. You know what's the worst thing to say to a practicing devotee? What is your devotion? You are just a useless fellow. If somebody would say that to me, it would break my heart for sure. Imagine Ambarish Maharaj, the emperor of the planet. You know, if I was in his place, I would have said, "Hey, बुलाओ क्या सुदर्शन? पहचानता नहीं है क्या? Do you not know? I'll just make one phone call." Ambarish Maharaj's response, he doesn't say anything. He just takes it, right? So, what is the lesson that we learn? What is the fifth point about the culture of Ambarish Maharaj? Is thoughtful contemplation in difficult situations. And it's so easy, right? Our anarthas always, until the point we completely uproot them, they will always try to overpower us in different situations. When that happens, what did Ambarish Maharaj do? There is a dilemma. What should I do? He took advice from the Brahmanas. When we go through difficult situations, we should seek advice. We should seek consultation. We should not have snap reactions. Even if that happens, we should go back and correct that. So that's the lesson that we learn. Actually, I didn't realize the time. Yes, we are right on time. So it can only be done with practice, right? So in the beginning, when we start, say your weakness is, say, if you get angry, and you just get angry without any warning, you just burst out, right? And then the gradual stage is to, say, become aware that I'm getting angry. Then the next step will be to feel that you are starting to get some anger. You're starting to get some greed. You're starting to get some of those anarthas. And to recognize that and to try to put a check, right? Until the point we completely uproot those things. So in those circumstances, we have to be thoughtful. So these are certain, qualities from Ambarish Maharaj's culture, right? Number one was worshipping, his culture of worshipping God, right? Second was perceiving Lord Krishna's presence everywhere under all circumstances. Third was, yes, to have compassion, practice charity. Fourth was sensitivity, sensitive hospitality to guests. And the fifth one was thoughtful contemplation in difficult situations. So such is a great personality. And now we will go back. We'll go back to the verse that we started out with, right? Whatever example a great personality sets, everybody else follows. So we don't want to be called as great personalities, nor should it be our prerogative to set examples for others, but at least we can set examples for ourselves. So that is why Ambarish Maharaj's pastime is an ideal pastime to meditate on when we read this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So with that, we'll pause here. All these things I've heard from many lectures, and I just put together the notes all the way up to the jokes. So I beg forgiveness. I may have made many mistakes in presenting this, but if there are any questions, corrections, or comments, we can discuss for some time before we start Aarti. Yes, Mataji. Maybe I should come back after a month and give an answer. Do I have to practice before I preach? I think in most circumstances we forget that we are living with devotees, especially the near and dear ones. We stop seeing each other as devotees, but we see इसको मैं जानता हूँ इसका ऐसा ही है, right? So I feel we have it takes a very it's an effort to remind ourselves to actually, hey, even when we are wrong or when something happens, we have to go back and reflect, and at the end of the day we have to remember that this person is in my life as a gift of God, and how am I dealing with this person, or what am I thinking about this person, right? This is something that I would always try to do. I still try to do all the time, and I think it's always there. Familiarity will always creep in. We'll always tend to forget until the day we become perfect. But do you also have some thoughts about it? Hmm. Yeah, yeah, as they are. Hmm. That's a beautiful point, Manoj. No, please, you were please. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice, very nice realizations. Actually, something that I also realized, like say if there's also a, when sometimes there's conflict, we always make it personal. Like say if this was shared by one of my mentors at the temple. He was a monk, brahmachari, so he would share. Let's say if somebody you don't like the way somebody washes plates, right? कैसा plate धोता है? How do you wash the plates? If even that is okay, but what do we usually do? We take it one step further. How do you wash the plates? Your face also looks terrible. Right? So, yeah, I think the culture of roasting goes everywhere. But what we don't realize, in roasting others, we are roasting our own heart. We are making it harder, you know. So, we are roasting the seeds of bhakti inside. They will never really grow, you know. So I feel that is also something that we need to realize. Like when feedback comes, and I personally struggle with that a lot many times. Like if some feedback comes, how could this person say? But rather than hearing that maybe my habit was wrong, and what maybe the criticism is about the habit and not me, and maybe if I fix that, I can overcome that. But yes, familiarity always is challenging. So that is why in our hearts, one more instruction that comes to my mind is we should always remember that I am a servant of everyone, whether a husband, a wife, a son, a brother, a mother. I am a servant of everyone, and that's the reason we call each other Prabhu, Mataji. But I guess it just the mind learns to bypass all instructions. Somehow the mind learns to bypass. So, but yeah, just some thoughts on that. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Hmm. It's extremely difficult. At least speaking from where I am, okay? I'll share what I can do. It's extremely difficult to forget about the results, okay? But in the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that one should do all their work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Yagyarthat karmano. One of the names of Lord Vishnu is Yagya. He is the Yagyapati in any sacrifice. One should always keep that consciousness that whatever I am trying to do, it's not only good enough to be detached from the fruits of your action, right? That something is coming to you, मुझे नहीं चाहिए, that's not good enough. मैं ये लेके आपको देता हूँ. I take this and I give it back to you. If we try to practice that, that gradually helps us detach, from the fruits of our action. In the practical sense, like my Guru Maharaj always says, whenever whenever you get, say, more things in life, more riches, more opulences, rather than increasing your standard of living, you increase your standard of giving. So we have to learn to give to God, as gradually it purifies our consciousness. The perfect stage is that we will completely be unaffected by those things, but it takes practice. It's a gradual process that it purifies your consciousness that way. But to try to understand, if you have a promotion and you got an increment of 20%, wow, that would be nice. But say you decide that, what, out of this increment, I will give maybe, I used to give 0.1%, I will give 0.5%, as a charity, as a contribution to spiritual causes. I will give my time, I will give my efforts. That helps. Anybody else has other thoughts? Yes, please. Okay. Just as a small thing, as Mataji was mentioning. Okay. No, the reason I was looking at this is I'm not sure if the devotees will be pleased, but I will share something. In order to even start up, I'll give an example, a very practical example, just to start up this temple. Okay. Many devotees have had to sell their own personal properties. It's an example. It's a very practical example. I'm not saying that's everybody should. Please don't sell your properties. This is also not a donation or a fundraising pitch, but I'm sharing an example of how people are willing to give to Krishna. Our own properties are so dear to us. As I was saying, I wouldn't even, part with my phone. What to speak of, hard earned thousands of dollars worth of, savings. But the idea is that as you gradually purify yourself, you learn to give, and gradually you learn to give more until the point that you are like, I don't need these things. What I need is you. And that's how we speak with God. Like, I don't need those things, I need you. And so I hope, some of those thoughts help. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Kanhai Gopal Prabhu, for such a wonderful class, lessons on from Ambarish Maharaj, which we can practically implement in our lives every day of the week. I didn't do introduction for Kanhai Gopal Prabhu today before the program started because there were not that many people in here. So now it's good to see more faces. Kanhai Gopal Prabhu is heartbeat of this temple. The disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. I like to say that whenever he gets a chance out of his services, that so many services that he does at this temple, he goes to AMD to work. So he spends more time here than probably at his workplace. But in all seriousness, his classes are so enlivening. Personally, for me, they nourish me. I take back so many practical examples, so many practical instructions from his classes that I feel that I have something to work upon within myself next week as I go back to do whatever we do during the week. So let's give a round of applause again for Kanhai Gopal Prabhu. Next part of the program is Aarti. So we will request everybody to please stand up, rise, and let's all, with all our hearts, sing and chant and dance in glorification of Shri Shri Radha Kunj Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Can you turn the bass? Can you turn the bass in my voice? Bass in my voice. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
In front of a bit faster, but keep the same beat.
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare
Jaya Vishnu Parabrahmanasya Bhakti So Sri Srimad as divine Siddhanta Bhakti Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki Jaya Vishnu Parabrahmanasya Bhakti Shri is Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami Maharaj ki Ananda Koti Vaishnava ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Praise the Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti ki Shri Radha Krishna Gop Govina Shampur Radha Giri Govardhan ki Vrindavan Dham ki Mathura Dham Navadvip Mayapur Dham Jagannath Puri Dham Ganga Maya ki Yamuna Maya ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulsi Maharani ki Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Gaur Premanandi all the resources of the world all the resources of the world all the resources Shri Guru of the world is that Prasadam is next. Bad news is I am between you and Prasadam. So, real quick, some announcements for this week. Very important announcements. First of all, I want to welcome all the new guests. Who's here for the first time? Everybody's been here before? You're here for the first time? What is your name? Tarun. Let's chant Maha Mantra to welcome Tarun Prabhu to our temple for the first time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I see there's some new faces as well. What is your name? Shilpa. Okay. You know, devotees don't need excuses to chant the Maha Mantra again. So we'll welcome Shilpa Mataji to the temple by chanting loudly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Within 2 times, I see there is another family who is here probably for the first time. Is there anybody else here for the first time? You're here for the first time? Yes? Okay. 3 times is a charm. So let's do it one more time by welcoming them by now chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we came into the temple this morning, there were not that many faces to be seen, and then I was wondering what is going on. And then I realized today, this weekend is the first weekend of spring break, so everybody's out. And also the clocks turned overnight by an hour ahead. So maybe some people were still sleeping in. But I'm glad you all made it today. And we wish those of you who are traveling this week until Wednesday, and I'll tell you why Wednesday is so important, then have a safe trip wherever you're going. I want to thank once again our wonderful speaker for today, His Grace Kanhai Gopal what we can learn from the culture of Ambarish Maharaj. Also, I want to thank all the youth, especially Mohit, coming from Dallas, leading the Aarti Kirtan. Thank the Pujari department for doing wonderful Pujari Seva. I think this mic has run out of battery. And I also want to thank all the devotees who assisted in making beautiful garlands for the speaker, for the deities, all the devotees who helped cook for today's prasadam, as well as those who will stay back to clean up and post cleanup do other services that are in the afternoon. So thank you all for your services, as well as the devotees who will be serving prasadam. For next Sunday feast, before we get to next Sunday feast, we actually should come to, we'll come to announcements. Because I said Wednesday, those of who you are traveling until Wednesday, because I know everybody has to come back by Wednesday night, because we have 5 programs this week, 5. So Thursday evening, Friday evening, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then the Sunday feast. So we have 5 programs. And 5 programs are because His Grace Amarendra Prabhu is coming to town after 3 years. And Amarendra Prabhu is going to unravel the secrets of our beautiful deity, Shri Shri Radha Kunj Bihari, through the words of Shastra. So he's going to be speaking on the glories of Kunj Bihari. And the title of this series is the Blue Sapphire Touchstone of Rajabhumi. So please don't miss it. If you want to know the inner secrets of Kunj Bihari's Leela, please be here starting Thursday evening. It's a 4-part series that ends on Saturday. So if you miss the first and you miss the second,
it's still okay. You can come for third and fourth. But please try to be here for all, because the secret, then the suspense, the way Amarendra Prabhu's classes are, it builds up. And to really relish it, you have to hear from the beginning of it. So that starts this Thursday evening, 6:30 p.m. sharp. It's a weeknight, so we will start on time, we will end on time. If you come late, then you will play catch up with us. Okay, going back a couple slides now. For next Sunday feast and the programs leading up to Sunday feast, if anybody is inspired to sponsor flowers for the deities, garlands, or for Boga for the prasadam arrangements, please come and see us. As well as today, we have a new way to donate. We do accept cash and checks is great. We have done that in the past. We also accept credit cards. So you see a new machine there, which has been put up there. If you want to use a credit card, you can do that as well. I also want to take a moment to thank our technology sponsors. This department is led, by the way, by our very own His Grace Tarun Kishore Prabhu. He works here. If you go to our YouTube page or you go to our Facebook page, you will notice that over the last several months, the quality of the video and photos on those pages have gone from non-existent to 4K quality. So all glories to Tarun Kishore Prabhu. I also want to thank other devotees, Santosh Prabhu, Manideep Prabhu, Abhishek Prabhu, Arindama Prabhu for sponsoring their laptops or providing monetary donations so we can have the amazing cameras that give us the quality of the audios and videos. So let's chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for all of them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Two more very important events this week. On March 15th, we're celebrating Srivas Pandit Appearance Day. And then on March 17th, it's Ekadasi. So we will fast from grains and beans, and we can chant more rounds of Maha Mantra on the Ekadasi days. Already covered this. Weekly Mangal Aarti. And we all meet Saturday mornings at 5:30 p.m. We start our weekend with spiritual activities, not just coming here Sunday for 3 hours, but Saturday morning, you see devotees here in the morning at 5:30, and we're having a Mangal Aarti program. You're all welcome to join us. And those of you who join us, they have been relishing the bliss in the early morning of chanting and glorifying the Lord all together starting Saturday mornings. We also have many events that have taken place over the last few days. There were book distribution events. There was a TCA Wednesday celebration, as well as there was Austin Hindu Holy Mela, where they went. And I want to thank Mohan Prabhu, and I saw pictures and saw pictures of Gopal Prabhu and Sakhi Mataji and everybody. So thank you all. I missed anybody. Sorry, I think Prabhus were there too. Thank you all for taking out and being the warriors of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sharing the message of Bhagavad Gita with others by giving them the books, because books are our bases, as Prabhupada said. We will take a minute to also recognize the passing of His Holiness Kadamba Kanhai Maharaj. I personally first time ever heard Kadamba Kanhai Maharaj at 11 when went to Germany Kirtan Mela the first time. It was the first ever gathering of Kirtan enthusiasts around the world outside of India. And that Kirtan Mela was when I first ever heard Kadamba Kanhai Maharaj sing. And I couldn't believe it. His voice was so melodious and so much power and Shakti in his Kirtan that with that Shakti he broke 3 harmoniums in 2 hours with pumping the harmonium. Nobody plays harmonium like Kadamba Kanhai Maharaj. And this past weekend, we have lost a great warrior from the material world, but has joined Srila Prabhupada in Goloka Vrindavan. And he has done so many services in serving and establishing temples and other properties for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure and the devotees' pleasure. He took knives, he took literally bullets when he was in Vrindavan. So there's a story. One day we will sit down and glorify Kadamba Kanhai Maharaj and we'll tell you more about him. But he never stopped. And I'm talking, 30, 40 years ago. And he never stopped in his service. And he was most loved by devotees in Africa because he spent a lot of time there to encourage our African yatra of devotees to continue serving. Alongside with him, I just learned, and I was a little bit disturbed when the kirtan was ending, and I was shocked because I heard there's a devotee whom I met, and I never personally met her, but we had been on touch on Facebook many, many years ago. She was 19 years old then. She passed away. She was 22 this morning, 6 hours ago. She passed away. She had a genetic disease from the birth that limited her ability to walk out of her bed. But she would never, ever forget to chant her rounds. She was chanting 16 rounds. She was a disciple of His Holiness Giriraj Swami. And Maharaj actually used to go to Pune to see her. My Guru Maharaj and the Dumna Maharaj has been there to see her. So many senior devotees would go to see her because she was very, very special. And her name, Madan Mohini Devi, if any of you know her. One time she wrote to me, and I want to read this, literally just a paragraph, because it is so inspiring. And I pulled that letter back because when I heard that she passed on this morning, I wanted to go back and read her letter. She said, "I don't know if you know me, but my disease is genetic, and literally my whole life I have been struggling to accept it as Krishna's causeless special mercy. I am 18 years old, actually 3 days shy from being 19, and it took me nearly 16 years of my life to be able to accept my worsening health as Krishna's grace, and believe that He has a beautiful plan for me, and that all this struggle is worth it. And you accepted all of it so nicely, so immediately." I'll skip some. Then she writes, "You wrote in your post that more than the pain of your physical difficulties is the pain of having to miss Sadhu Sangha retreat for the first time. It surely must be very difficult. Somehow, Krishna really likes to purify us by breaking our heart. I have been through this many times, but although it hurts so much, I just love it. I love it because although it's being broken and it hurts so much, Krishna is breaking it. And that feeling that Krishna is very personally involved in my life gives me deep satisfaction and security and makes me feel very fortunate. And that makes all the pain bearable." So let's chant with our heart for the passing of these two wonderful souls from this material world by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra one more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Madhur and Ankita are here. Is the baby coming? Coming? Okay. So, we have a family, and we are all going to welcome a new Vaishnava in our family here very, very soon, if everything stays on time. So let's all, with our heart, once again, offer our prayers at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Kunj Bihari for Madhur and Ankita Mataji, that the baby comes safe, healthy, chanting the names of the Lord in his heart, and we all welcome them with our open arms by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With that, the impediment in your path has been removed. You all are welcome to go take prasadam and honor prasadam. But before you go, we will chant the prasadam prayers. Mahaprasade Govinde, Namo Brahmane Vaishnave, Salva Punya Batan Rajan, Vishwasyo Navajayate, Harivar Jivyata, Nijendriyata Ekar, Jive Pile Vishaya Sagare, Dharmati Jivati Lo. पाओ दादा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेमे दाको श्री चैतन्य निताय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ki jai. We also have some jasmine flowers on sale, well, by donation only. We have about 5 or 6 boxes, 8 boxes.